Hello, everybody. Welcome to Four Racing Champions Day weekend. Promises to be a super Saturday afternoon racing. And, of course, start of the KwaZulu-Natal winter season, Sunday racing out at Greyville. So it does certainly have the lineup side by side. Weather not that great. They've had about 24 mils, as I understand it, at Turfentine in the last 24 hours or so. Some irrigation from last weekend, making it a 23-24 pen reading. Hopefully not too much rain there. And hopefully not too much rain at Greyville either. But from a racing lineup perspective, Daryn, looks like a solid card.
A super race card. I just hope that the penetrometer is not too soft. I do believe that the sun's out. Hopefully it drops to 23, 22. That'll be fine for racing. Otherwise, it can spring a result or two. But a great card. One of the best sprinters, Rio Ferrari in action. One of the best middle distance, Malmoos Summer Pudding got the green light. And then one of the best stayers around, African Adventure. So exciting racing.
I mean, Daryn couldn't have put it better. I mean, there's some super quality going on at the moment.
Yeah, Clyde, a feast of features. And I don't know how much sleep you'll be getting tonight, but we can't wait for tomorrow to arrive.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And I see that there's a Pick Six carryover on a Champions Day. There's the forecast, the tab predicting a 12 million rand pool.
Yeah, all the more to get involved. I mean, we've suggested 2 Pick Sixes for our weighted to win viewers tomorrow. We've gone tight in one, and we've added some cover there in the other. So it's up to them to decide which of the two to play. If they don't play either, they can play both.
Okay, well, that's a good idea. So what does that mean exactly? It means that we need to look at the first leg of the Pick Six and take a look at the market here. And there it is, where number 9, Sheila, is top of the boards, currently trading at around 15 to 10. 9 Smorgasbord, or 6 Smorgasbord rather, is at 22 to 10. So 9 Sheila is 15 to 10. 6 Smorgasbord, 22 to 10, where there's been a bit of activity, as you can see in the volume. Volume meaning that's the amount of money they got on the horse right now, and it's still early. Pyromaniac number 2 is at 9 to 2, and then 20 to 1 bar those 3. So, Darryl, does it just come down to those 3, or is there a spook in the pack, as you would call it?
For our personal Pick Six, we hope there's a little bit of a spook in this in the pack, because we have added number 4, Roll with the Punches, who was very impressive in his last victory, where he beat Mitch Got His Wish, and there's not much separating Mitch Got His Wish and Pyromaniac. So we are hoping for a little bit of a spook in the first leg. Number 9, Sheila, is the favorite, and she gets her 2.5 kilogram sex allowance. She's one of 2 fillies to take on the Colts and Geldings here in the nursery. And she couldn't have been more impressive on debut, but she didn't beat the best of fields over there, Clyde. The second and third place runners have both run unplaced in their next start. So the form hasn't really been franked with those two, failing dismally. But she did have excuses. She was slow into stride, and she got a little bit of a bump coming at the start. But my only concern is just before the start to pull the trigger, she was a little bit unruly, and she was tending to rear up and play about in the pens. And if she gets left against this punch, she might have her work cut out.
Okay.
Smorgasbord, now, he was very impressive. He came out well, and then he stumbled, or he faltered after a few strides into the race. But he picked himself up smartly, and he delivered the goods, because he's very well supported on that occasion. He was punted down deep into the red, and it was a workmanlike performance. He just was never in doubt, and he got the job done, and he got stronger as the race went on. And I think there's a lot more to come from the son of Twice Over. And then number 2, Pyromaniac. Now, I think they were 19 lengths clear of the third place run over there. So I'm a little bit confused as to that form line. But you know what? He's the son of Silvano. I think his dam won the Oaks. And for him to win up the straight, he must be loaded with ability. So I'm not going to go out the first leg of the Pick Six if he has to happen to win. So we've got 4 horses in the first leg. I'm fairly bullish that we'll get through.
All right, Daryn, what's your take on it? I mean, those are the 4 runners that Darryl's mentioned. Anything in addition to that, or does that summarize it? What is the horse to beat in the first leg?
Well, the horse to beat, I believe, is Smorgasbord. The money was down on debut, and he won super impressively. I do believe that form line's going to stand up, and Smorgasbord is my first choice. Sheila didn't beat a strong field. I know it was a feature race, but the strength of that race isn't standing up too strong. So I think she's got to step it up again to be competitive, but she should be right there. Pyromaniac, him and Mitch got his wish, pulled about 19 lengths clear of the third horse that day, and he got the better in the shadow of the post. I do believe he's looking for further, but I haven't excluded him. And then Roll with the Punches won impressively, beating Mitch Got His Wish. I actually labeled Mitch Got His Wish that day, and Roll with the Punches never came off the bit, and he is 3 kilos better off. So we have included all 4, but Smorgasbord will be a hard horse to beat for me.
Okay, well, that, as you guys have made reference to, is the opening leg of the Pick Six. As we move from there on to the first leg of the jackpot now, and take a look at the market for race number 5, where this is the 4 racing Camelia, and number 8, Sweet Futures, top of the boards at 2-1. Number 9, Celestial Love, 5-2. And then they've got 8-1. If you have a look at 2, Gallic Princess, 8-1. 10-1, the one, Sing Farafa. And then 10-1 about number 5, Tropic Sun. 14-1 and better about the other. So, Darryl, let me come to you here. Samanga Kamala's right. Sweet Future, good enough, strong enough to win?
Yeah, Clyde, you can't fault her form. She's certainly on the upgrade, and she's getting better with racing. And I think her last victory was the best to date, because she did it she was idling up front, and then Samanga hadn't asked the question, and then he suddenly asked her to go, and she responded well. In that race, I think 4 lengths behind her was Tropic Sun. Now she's come out to win 2 races since then, and also further down that form line was Thumbs Up, who's also won 2 races. So the form line is certainly holding up, and you can't ignore her chances, because she's certainly getting better with racing. But the same can be said with the other 3-year-old in the race, Celestial Love. I like the way her running style, because she's able to settle just off the pace, and she's got a great turn of foot. And she actually beat quite a decent field last time out, because they had the highly talented or the highly thought of Elsa Keat and Varina further down that further down that field, and she put them to bed quite comfortably. Then you got the 4-year-olds who the weights favor over here. You got Sing Forefa, who on her day is extremely good. You got Gallic Princess, who I believe is going to reverse the form with Tropic Sun, because I think she's 4 kilograms better off, and I'm expecting her to turn around that form. And then you can't ignore Tropic Sun. Now that she's stepped up to 6 furlongs, she's been doing it comfortably up front, and she finishes the races off smartly. So the 3-year-olds are favoring the top of the boards over here, but you won't be shocked to see one of the 4-year-olds win in Sing Forever, Gallic Princess, or Tropic Sun.
So it's sounding quite competitive, Daryn.
Yes, it is competitive. I mean, the betting suggests it's a 2-horse race, but I think it's a little bit more open than that. Sweet Future done nothing wrong. Won impressively last time out. She runs well fresh. She's as he brings them out after a layoff. And she's also won 1-from-1 in the soft. So if it's a little bit soft, I think she'll appreciate it. And I think she is the horse to beat narrowly over horses like Gallic Princess. Last time out, I expected more from her, and she seemed a bit one-paced. But when she went down to the start that day, I wasn't too impressed with the way she was moving. So hopefully they've got her back to best. She will be a runner, being 4 kilos better off with Tropic Sun for that 2.75 length beating, which brings Gallic Princess and Tropic Sun very close together. Celestial Love done nothing wrong. She was very well weighted in her last 2 starts, but she did win. And you know, a horse, maybe you can say a horse has 5 gears. I think this filly's got 6 gears. She turns it on, she moves up to them, and then she skips away the final 200. So that's, I think she's going to build on those efforts, and it's a tough race, but she should step it up. And then Sing for Rafa is best weighted. On her day, she's run behind, short head behind Celtic Sea at grade 1 level, so she can't be ignored. We are going 1, 2, 5, 8, and 9 in the pick 6.
Okay, so we're making it quite it's open basically. The betting may indicate a 2-horse race, but it does seem to be more than that. As we go to the Gerald Rosenberg and the 4 racing Gerald Rosenberg, and Running Brave number 1 is 15-10. Siam second choice at 33-10. 6 Sparkling Waters at 9-2. and 2 Kelpie 7-1, 6-1 the 7 Netta, and then double figures about the others in this race. So staying with you, Daryn, for a moment. I mean, Muzi on Running Brave does seem to be a solid choice to win the Gerald Rosenberg.
Yes, for sure. She is the horse to beat, Clyde. Over the distance, she's won 2 out of 4 and placed second. The only time unplaced over the 2000 was when she ran midfield, not disgraced in the Met. So I do believe that she'll control the pace because there's not too much pace in the race. And if she can slow it down, she's going to be the horse to beat going through the 300. Sea Harm's going to enjoy the step up in trip. The 1800 meters, she won by 5 lengths. She was very, very well handicapped that day, but on a line of form with Sparkling Water, I think that she holds Sparkling Water on that run. We have included Sparkling Water as she could be progressive. She's a 3-year-old by Silvano, so she can only get better. And Netta, last time out, you can put a line through a run. Still a good run to get up for third after being hampered and unbalanced at the 600 quite badly, and she still managed to get up for third. She would have been probably alongside Sparkling Water if she got a clear run.
Okay. Well, Darryl, I mean, you made quite a lot of money on this horse Siam for the show. I mean, you predicted that a little while ago. How big are you on Siam for Saturday?
She's undoubtedly my first pick, but the race certainly doesn't stop there. She's taken on some solid competition of in the likes of number 1 Running Brave, who ran an absolute cracker behind Summer Pudding in the Empress Club. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and she was closing in at the death. And now that she steps up to 2000 and she's best weighted over here, I think she's 7 pounds best in. You certainly have to respect her chances. And the stable's in good form. I think Fani had 2 winners during the week. So that's what you like to see when you fancy horses, is that the stable's on the boil. But going back to Sea Harm, now this filly is unexposed of this trip, and in that 1800 meter start, she actually put them to bed. She was never in doubt, and the further she went, the further she was going to win. And I think now that she's going to 2000, we're really going to see what she's all about. I think she's loaded with potential, and now that she's going to an optimum trip, she certainly could turn around that form. I know she's only a kilogram worse, better off with Running Brave, but she can reverse that form because she's got a lot more to give. And then, like Daryn touched on, the 3-year-olds, Sparkling Water, she's getting better with every outing. And Netta, who was very unlucky last time, I think one of the pacemakers, the stable companions, fell back on her and she had to check. You have to respect her chances because she's certainly got ability. So for us in the pick 6, we've got the 4 horses. We'll get through this first leg, this leg of the pick 6, but I do believe Sea Harm is the filly to be with over here.
Okay, with 1 to beat, but we've covered up. So Ria Karari now is favourite to win the 4 Racing Computer Form Sprint Group 1. Currently trading at around 12.5, 25 to 20. True to Life number 9 is at 28 to 10 is the second choice. 1 Chimichurri runners 14 to 1, 14 to 1 4 Russet Air, 14 to 1 5 Chanty Man, 18 to 1 Bahika. I mean, there's double figures about everything. If the market is anything to go by, Daryn, this is only a 2-horse race.
Yes, I think the market's correct. Ria Karari, I do make the best bet on the card. He's really improved. If you look last year, this time, he went to Durban for the season. He got beat 2 lengths by Celtic Voyager, 2.5 lengths Gallic Princess, and then he came back to Cape Town and won a graduation plate, beating Jean's Man by half a length. And since then, I mean, he won a pinnacle, beating Casimir over the 1000. He took off at Run Fox Run in the Cape Flying Championships, just couldn't get up. And then he won the Diadem in a canter. So on natural improvement, and I do believe that he did go to Durban first to acclimatize, and now he's in Joburg. I believe that Ria Karari will take a ton of beating. I see him sitting 2 lengths off the pace, 3 lengths off the pace, and turning it on past this field. So for me, Ria Karari, True to Life, done nothing wrong. One of the best filly sprinters in the country. She'll be there at the finish. Russet Air, blinkers on. He'll be a little bit outpaced maybe in Joburg over the 1000. They go very fast, but he'll be staying on. And then we have thrown into one of our pick 6s, Bahika, at a big price.
I see that, 18-1. Darryl, Rio Karari hard to beat, or you also, I mean, Daryn saying it's hard to beat, but covering. Is Rio Karari hard to beat, and are you also covering?
Yeah, Clyde on form, he's certainly hard to beat, but there's other factors. He's now traveling. Is he as good up on the half vault as his best runs in the Cape? So you have to take that all into consideration. But in saying that, he's certainly improving, and look at his rating. He's now at his highest, so he's at the peak of his career over here. And if he does travel well, and things go well for him in the race, and he is as good as he is outside of his own province, up here on the half vault, he's certainly the horse to beat. But true to life, in her own backyard, she's got a home ground advantage over here, and she's in cracking form, and she's one of the best sprinters we've got up here on the half vault. You have to respect her chances. And then you got the likes of Russet Air. Now, he was just touched off in this race last year. He was very unlucky on that occasion because he was totally outpaced. And I see they put the blinkers back on him. So maybe if it can be a little bit handier, and with some weight reversals with Rio Karari, there won't be much separating him and the favorite. So he could be the upset material on the race. And a real loony that we've thrown in, who I do believe has a lot of ability on his day. We've seen him win from hopeless positions in the past. Is the Bohica, and they put blinkers on him for the first time. And if that does the trick, he could be the joker in the pack and get the huge result we're looking for over here in a wider perm. But like Daryn says, Rio Karari in his current form is the horse to beat. Okay,
Rio Karari, the horse to beat as far as that event is concerned. As we move on from that to the big one, the Full Racing Premier's Champions Challenge. It's a superb event. Malmoos got the Greenlight and Summer Pudding, who dominate the market. Well, 8 Malmoos is at 18-10. 1 Got the Greenlight is at 3-1, and 7 Summer Pudding is at 3-1. They are betting 14-1 and better about the others. I spoke to Joey Soma, and he did say to me, if you like Got the Greenlight, back him. He's at his peak. He's probably at the best right now, Got the Greenlight, and he's very, very privileged to have him in the race. That I think all 3 trainers are privileged when speaking to them to have these horses, to be able to take them on and put on such a spectacular show for the public. Got the Greenlight, you ask yourself the question, as a 2-year-old, as a colt, he won a Group 1. 3-year-old colt, he won a Group 1. 4-year-old colt, he won a Group 1. You got to cast your mind, I don't know how far back as to when was the last time a horse did that. That's how good he is. Summer Pudding, how good is she? How brilliant is she? Coming out of the Empress Club, and she's at 3-1. Spoke to Paul Peter, said she took on the Empress Club very well, came out the Empress Club extremely well, and hence her participating just a few weeks later in this event this weekend. So they're very bullish too. And when I spoke to Mike Tekok, he did send a message to me just to ask him, and I'll just pull it up for you quickly as to what he said. When asking him what's the deal with Malmoos as far as Saturday is concerned. And if I have a look at what he said to me here quickly, which I'll find for you, he did respond, basically telling me that the horse has been pretty well, and that he's quite happy with the fact that, you know, they're participating in the event. He says he's been at his peak for some time now. I feel he's getting better with time, which is a very good statement to make. Prep been great, and looking forward to a great spectacle. Let's hope all horses run to their ability for the South African racing, so that the racing public will be treated to a great race. So all 3 trainers really bullish. Now to you, the 2 professionals. Let's start with you, Darryl. Who's going to win it?
Clyde, for me, it's a toss-up between the 1 Got the Greenlight and the 7 Summer Pudding. Obviously, a healthy respect for Malmoos. I just think he's been on the boil for a very long time, whereas the others have, in my opinion, have had a little bit of a better prep going into this race, because this race has been their target, whereas Malmoos, I think he was at his best and at his peak going into the Derby. But in saying that, it was an effortless victory, and he did it comfortably. And he's now stepping back down in trip. I don't know if that's also a negative, but he's certainly got turn of foot, and he's got guts on his side, and he's an up-and-coming 3-year-old, one of the boom 3-year-olds, taking on some solid performers in the older horses over here. But going back to number 1, Got the Greenlight, he's been primed for this race. Cracking comeback run, gutsy win over the mile last time out. A little bit of sting out the ground now, and he's in a small field. He likes to be given a chance, and he's got such a turn of foot. So I think Muzi probably got caught a little bit off guard last time because he hit the front a little bit too far out, in my opinion, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. I think he'll be held up for a run a little bit more over here and be given more patient chance. Right. So for me, got the green light, healthy respect, and then Summer Pudding. She's the best weighted over here. And how many horses do you know can win a grade 1 over a distance that's far too short for them? And she did just that in her last start. It was a very, very impressive victory. It was hard-fought victory. But now she's having a third run, a peak run, a third run off the layoff. She should get the run of the race. She's the darling of the turf. So it will be great to see her win this race. So for me, it's a 3-corner contest. We'll get through this leg of the pick 6. If I just stick my neck out, it's between the 1 and the 7.
Okay, you're making it those two. Daryn, what you siding with? What's your first choice?
I'm in the camp of the 3-year-old Malmoos. I think this is the best 3-year-old crop we've seen in a very long time, and he's one of the best of them. He won the Triple Crown in good style. I do believe that the 2,000-meter trip is probably his best trip, up to 2.4. And the way he won the Derby and the Classic, the way he turns it on the final 300 meters and blows the field away. I do believe that it's between Malmoos, got the green light, and Summer Pudding. I see them slicing through the field at the 400-meter mark, all three of them, but I do believe that Malmoos will come home on top. So for me, Malmoos, a very hard horse to beat. I think he's only getting better, maturing, and he's a very exciting horse for the future. Over got the green light, who his 2 comeback runs have been great. Good prep going into the race. He'll be spot on for the race, and he'll give a big run for his money. And Summer Pudding, if her last run hasn't come too soon, I do believe that she'll be very close to winning. Second base, you can't write him off for the places.
Okay, so he's a nice trifecta quartet horse. I wonder, with 300 meters to go, if the 3 of them, I call him the king, got the green light, taking on the queen, Summer Pudding, taking on the prince, Malmoos. I wonder if the 3 of them are going to be side by side, you know, having a go at the 300 and nothing between them, or is it going to be one of those that starts to streak clear? I wonder how this is going to turn out.
Yeah, I don't see them head to head at the 400, Clyde. I think Muzi will be a length or 2 off them with his turn of foot. I think you'll be wanting to pounce as late as possible. But for the weighted to win viewers over there, I think the right quartet over here is box those 3 for first, second, and third, and then you bank a second base for fourth. That quartet's only going to cost you R6.
Okay, great race. We look forward to it. The Full Racing Gold Bowl, 3,200 meters. Hot favorite, number 1, African Adventure. Been speaking to Joe, said very well. He's a great stayer. He's a top horse. He's got a top weight to carry, 61. It's not easy over 3,200 meters. But if you like him, back him, as he said, because he's even money favorite. 5, Don't Look Back, as there's money. As you can see, there's an early volume, but there is money for him at 18 to 10. 7, Smoking Hot, the third choice at 8 to 1. And 6, Odd Robbers at 10 to 1. They are betting 12 to 1 and better the other. So, Daryn, this race, I mean, do we wrap up a napping African Adventure, or do we pay attention to this money that's coming for Don't Look Back in terms of weights?
Well, in terms of weights, it brings Don't Look Back closer to African Adventure, but I believe that African Adventure is worth a bet. I think he's best over the 3,200 meters. Over the 2,800 meters, he went once, he won by 7. Over the 3,200, he also won by 7. He moves up strongly and stretches clear from his field. I don't think the 61 kilos is going to stop him. And I think he is pretty much one of the best stayers in the country. So African Adventure to beat Don't Look Back. Don't Look Back actually beat African Adventure over the 2,400 meter trip and is 1.5 kilos better off at the weights. But over this distance, I believe African Adventure a hard horse to beat, and we are going 1 and 5 in the pick 6.
Okay. Darryl, do you see more than that, or is that it?
Yeah, Daryn touched on it. On form, strictly on paper, Don't Look Back has to be the right one because he did beat African Adventure and he's better off at the weights. But now you have to take into consideration that African Adventure is a different beast over this testing ground. This is where he's at his best. But in saying that, he still has to give 8 kilograms away to Don't Look Back.
Yeah.
So there's no surprise to see the market has come for Don't Look Back, because he was at a big price at around 3 to 1. But over this ground, over this testing ground, African Adventure is going to take some beating.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting, and it does make for some great racing of that. There is no doubt. Now we need to move on to have a look at what our pick sixes show and our bipods and our all of that sort of stuff. What's important in getting that right for you guys and showing our public, and that we shall do now. Let's have a quick look at what the pick sixes have been put together. Now, there are 2 pick sixes, as you heard from the guys. In brackets is the add-on. So the first leg 2, 4, 6, 9. By the second leg 1, 2, 5, 8, 9. By the third leg 1, 4, 6, 7. By the fourth leg 2 in the one pick six, we're bankering the 2. But adding in the add-on the second pick six 4, 6, 9. By the second last leg nap the 8. And then we're adding in the 1 and the 7. And then the last leg, we've got 2 horses, 1 and 5. So the first perm without the brackets cost 160 Rand. That's 16 Rand. Have I got it right, gentlemen? Have we put this together correctly?
That looks good.
Right. And then in the brackets over there, as you can see, which are these horses here, that if you had to add all that together comes to 1,920 Rand, which for 192 Rand, 10%. So you can go the safe route and go the big perm, or you can go the riskier route where we think those are the hard horses to beat, those there, and then only spend that kind of money. That's on the pick six. The bipot, we've had a look at that. We'll just show you quickly for 54 Rand, 1 to 11, by banker 9, by 269, by 289, by 1 and 4, by banker 2. That's the bipot. It's a 54 Rand perm as far as the big Saturday event's concerned. Daryn, let's talk about your play.
Well, my best bet on the card is Ria Kwarari. If he repeats any of his last 3 or 4 efforts, he should blow this field away. I just hope the traveling hasn't got in the way, but I'll stick with Ria Kwarari as the best bet. And the value bet, or should I say best bet 2, is Malmoos at 18 to 10. I believe he's the horse to beat.
Is Malmoos also one of your best bets?
Yes.
Okay, I've got it down as a value. My apologies, but I mean, you know what? There's still a bit of value at 18 to 10 in Malmoos. You know, there's nothing wrong with making that kind of percentage on your return, right? If you like Malmoos, so you like both of those quite strong. Darryl, your experience. What's the? I see you've come up with something earlier in the day.
Yeah, Clyde, I'm hoping to put some money in the back pockets of the weighted to win viewers. Have a 1 betting race 2 on number 1 Express from the US. There's no doubt he's been contesting much stronger races than what he takes on a year. And I like the fact that he finally cracks a bit of a draw with Marco van Rensburg back in the irons, who knows him extremely well. I don't believe he'll have much ground to make up turning for home. And I think his class will bring him through. And I think he's the best bets on the card. And let's hope we can put some extra dollars in the pockets and the viewers out there can invest in that huge pick six pool.
Okay, well, don't forget to watch us every Friday night for the preview of the Saturday meeting. That's the most important thing. And trust that you guys have had a good one. You've heard from Darryl, go Express from the US early and then make money for the rest of the day. You've heard from Daryn that he likes pretty much strong with his best bets. Ria Kwarari and Malmoos, the 2 of them, but it does make for a superb day's racing on Saturday. And we look forward, of course, to the start of the winter season as well. Guys, thanks, Darryl. Thank you for your time. Daryn, thank you for your time. I've been in Durban this week. We've been enjoying it. It's been great up here in KwaZulu, or down here in KwaZulu-Natal, and look forward to watching the show from here. Thanks very much, and we'll see you guys next weekend.
All the best. Thanks, Clyde.
Thanks.
Yes.